Hello humans, hello humans. It's afternoon on the 28th of February. Heading outbound now. Had my meetings, got my chores done, and starting to move out to the coast, do some more chores, and then relax a little bit, and then do some more work. Anyway, I wanted to talk about a couple of items here today. Probably going to upset a few people. They have an emotional attachment to them, but these two things are the LightWave patches and this Scalar wave thing, right? So the LightWave patches are basically they're being it's like multi-level marketing, right? Anybody that sells a LightWave patch then becomes instantly an affiliate, and they can sell it to get somebody else to sell it, get a percentage, and so on. And these patches are very expensive, right? But they tout themselves as having a study behind them, and the whole idea is that you'll feel better with these patches. They have them for doing various different things, is my understanding. But the one I ran across first was this, and it's a little patch. It's got some metallics in it and some other stuff, and it supposedly is non-transdermal, so it's not giving you chemicals through your skin. It's working on the biophotons of your skin. And the idea was, the first one I ran across was this one that was supposed to increase your stem cells, and what it does was to trigger a copper-based peptide that then triggers the stem cell production. So it's not actually triggering stem cells directly, and it's doing so through a natural body reaction. Okay, so here's the thing. I went and read the study, right? And okay, the study is legit, but there's a bunch of problems with the study. The study was paid for by the people that manufacture it, okay? So it meant that there was no third party that had an interest in doing this study. The study was badly designed. Okay, so the study was designed to prove that the LightWave patch was effective. All right, so it was not designed to fail, to prove that it didn't work. And so usually when you set out with medical stuff, especially on studies, but especially medical stuff, you want to have the assumption that you're trying to prove it doesn't work. And then if you fail, you've proved it works and everything's good. But because you are steel manning it, right, you're assuming it does work, but you're going to look for the flaws in it in your study, then you eliminate the possibility that you would have or reduce the possibility that you would have an error in the study for failure. Okay, so anyway, so the people that manufacture it produce the study. The study, in my opinion, is badly designed because all it does is attempt to prove that these things work. Now, the major flaw with the study, so they do a study where they give a bunch of people the patches, they do blood work ahead of the patch, then they wear the patch, then they do blood work after the patch, and then other kinds of analysis, right? Like galvanic skin response and some of these other things. Okay, so anyway, here's the deal on the study. The study did not do anything to eliminate a placebo effect. All right. So here's the idea. You've got this little, maybe it's 2 inches by 2 inches or something like that patch, and you put it on your body, and supposedly it triggers this copper peptide. You produce more stem cells, and so your body is better because you've got more stem cell production, and you're replacing bad cells with the new cells from the stem cells, and all is good. But medical experiments, in order to actually validate the substance or the methodology you're using, need to allow for and remove the placebo effect, right? So if you, so in other words, there was no attempt in this study. All they did was to check these people after they'd given them a patch. there was no attempt to give them a fake patch to see if they could induce a placebo effect, and therefore maybe some of the effect of the LightWave was due to the placebo effect and not the actual construction of the patch. So if I were going to do this test, I would make up some fake LightWave patches. And then I would also have some people that did just straight like aluminum foil, right? And so they would just tape aluminum foil 2 inches by 2 inches on you and see if that caused the same level of response. So we don't know, right? You can maybe just tape aluminum foil on you, reflect back the biophotons. The shiny part of the aluminum foil does indeed reflect biophotons back at you. And so there's legitimate reasons to do this. I know people in Europe that use a method for arthritis in the lower extremities, like especially people that are diabetic and so on, right? There's this method where you put for a defined time, I don't know all the details, but like you would wrap your ankle that had arthritis in it, you would wrap your ankle with the shiny part of the tinfoil touching the skin. And then this reflects back the biophotons, it energizes it, it provides it a little bit more heat, and it also induces, theoretically, more stem cell production, so you could have less arthritis in that ankle. So, did the LightWave people in any way in their study design deal with the placebo effect? Not that I can see when I read it, okay? Maybe they've got other studies, maybe there's independent third-party studies that they're not touting or whatever that did do this to see if there was a placebo effect from the patches, but nonetheless, the study shows that the patches work. Okay, they don't work huge, they're not really great, the amount of stem cells increased was very low. It was on the order of less than 0.1% increase in the stem cells in the results of the study I read. And so yeah, it works, but it sure as hell is not worth whatever number of dollars you're paying for that actual patch. And then this is the other bitch about it, right? So their study was badly designed, so I don't trust LightWave's results that says that this shit works, okay? And you're bound to induce a placebo effect. If you tell somebody that, look, I'm going to put this tinfoil on you and it's going to increase your stem cells, and then I put the tinfoil on you, you're going to have an expectation, your body will have an expectation that it should increase the stem cells, and most people will have a placebo effect, and they will indeed increase their stem cells from the little square of aluminum foil on them. Anyway, so the other aspect of this is the value. Okay, so this is all about face value of things, right? You can't take the study on its face value. You have to examine it. We're coming into hyper novelty. So you got to do this for every fucking thing because you can't trust anything, right? It's now come to your attention that everybody you've ever met in terms of media has lied to you at some level, meaningfully lied to you, whether they did it willingly or wittingly or not. They may not know they were lying to you. They were just parroting back some bogus information. So you've got to examine everything. So I examine the LightWave study. It doesn't pass my analysis, right? Because the study was not properly designed like a medical study for a medical device. It's a study designed to prove that this shit works, and that's its only goal. The other aspect of these LightWave patches is this multi-level marketing shit, right? So there's so much profit, so much huge amounts of money relative to the production cost on the LightWave patch that the LightWave patches should be selling on the order of, let's see, at least you should be able to get at least 10 of these things for $1. All right. I mean, our dollar don't buy shit anymore because the dollar is really reduced and bogus. But nonetheless, the production cost on the LightWave patches is really fucking cheap. They're probably getting them in packaging, ready to go out the door to be sold at less than a penny a product, penny per patch, something like that, right? But if you included all the advertising and this kind of shit, you should retail these things out maybe at about 10 cents each. So everything over that 10 cent cost is for someone to make a profit on it, and so it's this whole multi-level marketing thing, right? Where 90% of the cost involved are spreading out to people that do not add value. All they are is a momentary conduit for sales, and that's what the company is paying for through your money, through overcharging you. And so that's my take on LightWave patches. That you can use them, but you're paying 1,000 times more than they cost in order to support their multi-level marketing network. And you can probably, there are better ways. If your goal is to boost your stem cells, there's far better ways. And then here's something else too about that, right? The stem cell production, they have other patches for other supposed benefits from disease, etc. But they all work on the same method of reflecting back biophotons. Supposedly they're able to frequency determine this, but in any event though, there are better ways to do stem cell increasing without these little LightWave patches and the huge costs involved. Now, another one of these product things where they're claiming all these benefits is the Scalar wave deal, where you get this computer program that runs these screens and it puts up these colors on the screens, and supposedly it's creating scalar waves. Now, note that this woman, Sandra somebody or other, who's supposedly the queen of these EE devices, she can't tell you what frequency. She can't tell you what these scalar waves are. She just talks in verbiage as though, or she's using words to obscure meaning, not to express meaning. So she uses words like scalar wave, but she won't ever discuss what frequencies you're supposedly getting from these things. And then here's my bitch with those devices, right? Again, we've got a multi-level marketing approach to sales on these things and to treatment. And now they're setting up big centers where they've got all these scalar wave screens set up, and supposedly you go there and you spend a few hours and you feel better, right? And somehow it fixes you up. Even though she doesn't tell you what frequency it is, she can't get into the frequency dynamics of how she's intending to produce these, and they gloss right over the fact that they're using regular commercial flat screens. So any claim to special frequencies out of these screens is a lie, right? They're lying. All that screen can do is all that screen can do. It can only produce light waves that are heavily blue frequency, long wave blue frequency light. And yeah, it'll do red and so on, but these screens don't do true red and they don't do true brown. Even if they did, you're not going to produce a scalar wave from basically a trapped or electric, not even that. You're not going to produce scalar waves out of the screen scrolling by you, right, with these weird colors on it. And they have no studies for these things, and they have no attempt to measure the frequency range. There's no measurement on the EMF that they report. So these screens are going to be kicking out electromagnetic frequencies, guys. And so you will get EMF from these screens. A lot of them in an area will build a big EMF potential. So you may feel different, but it's not going to be good for you to be around all these electromagnetic outputs. And so anyway, so it's bogus. I mean, it's not actually imparting any new energy to you. And if it were to be able to do so, and if she was a real scientist about this, she claims to be a doctor, but I don't know what her degree is in. She could be a doctorate of phys ed for all I know, right? Physical education, or a doctorate of waste management. But she might even be a real medical doctor, but if she is a medical doctor, she's acting very much like a scammer, because she's not going into the frequencies, she's not talking about the alterations of the body that occur, she's just using all of these words like scalar and quantum. And you're supposed to be impressed with scalar waves and quantum. You're going to connect with quantum, get some source in you. They're going to use all these words and intone them in a particular way, attempting to sell you on this, and it's going to build a placebo effect. So I have no doubt that some people will claim they felt great from this Scalar experience. But, you know, like I say, it's multi-level marketing. Lots of people are making money off of it. It's computer screens that can only do computer screens. And so if there was benefit to be had from being around computer screens showing you or projecting lots of different colors, then you would get the same level of benefit from playing video games all day. I kid you not, because the screens can only produce a very narrow range of light. And none of that light is going to be produce an effective scalar wave, nor is that scalar wave going to be out and about in the general environment around the screen. All that's going to be out there in the general environment is the electromagnetic frequency of those things. So if you went into one of these places where they treat you with it, and you took an electromagnetic meter with you, an EMF meter, you would see that it's off the scale. And I wouldn't go in one of those places without wearing my shungite. So I wouldn't be affected by the vast quantities of EMF. And EMF is negative, right? There are specific frequencies that do some level of benefit for the body, but we cannot effectively put those frequencies into the body. The best we can do at this stage are these phased electric devices like TENS and Scalar. I've had a Scalar since 2001, I think. This is a Russian sort of a TENS device, which is this programmatic way of zapping you with multiphasic electricity and getting some of that electricity to go on in and energize your body. And this reduces pain, inflammation, etc., etc. It's good stuff. You know, if you got an active hurt, you go and you use your Scalar on the hurt from your sore muscles and stuff, and you fix it. But is it, you know, like I say, this is the extent of our ability to put electrics into people. I know people that are using phased electrics and phased biophotonics, right? So like the red light therapy, that kind of thing. I know people that use that in a hospital setting to deal with neurine issues like multiple sclerosis or Lou Gehrig's disease, some of these kind of things, right? And in the hospitals, they work their asses off to get the energy into your body in a form that actually aids your body. And it does work, right? So if you've got multiple sclerosis or whatever, you can go down to Mexico and you can get treated. Your nerves will heal. The lining will repair itself. The myelin coating of the nerves will reconstitute, and you will be better. Now, if we really knew how to do it, we could maybe cure the underlying causes of that within people, but we don't. But we do know how to effectively treat. But you're not going to get those kind of effects from the computer screen sitting over there doing these little flashy colors at you. Just isn't going to happen. Okay, so so those are my two bitches, the LightWave patches and the Scalar guys. And again, the Scalar guys, there's nothing anywhere showing any kind of a study on this shit, and there's nothing that I can see where they've ever attempted to do anything to codify and quantify the placebo effect that they may be causing by telling people that this shit works. And it's the telling of the stuff working that causes the placebo effect, because your body has that expectation, because they've front-loaded your mind on this. And again, I don't see it anywhere. So, as I say, I wouldn't go into any of the rooms with those things going on without wearing my shungite to reduce the amount of EMF that you're getting from them. I'm very particular about that, just like I won't ride in an electric vehicle, right? I don't like being around the charging stations. So over at the charging station over here near a Walmart, no cars there, no nothing. And I took my EMF meter, this was back this last summer, and just walked around, and the lowest reading I got was in the upper 90s, and that was like several feet away. Now, off of my computer screens at home and stuff, when I'm that same distance away from them, from those computer screens and stuff, I might get 25 to 52 if I'm, hovering around the CPU and stuff, right? but you're getting 90 and higher. That was the lowest reading. I got very high readings. Some of the areas, like the EMF, is leaking out at a huge level, and I was getting readings that were in the 3 digits. So 2 and 3 and 400. Not good, guys. You don't want to be around these kind of EMFs. And again, that's the kind of approach that these scalar guys are saying. Oh, come kiss the screen, get the scalar wave, suck the EMF. And it's like, well, you're batshit crazy, people, to think that this shit works. And a lot of it is, again, the placebo effect. So you will get placebo effect and so on, but I don't expect these devices to last. I don't expect LightWave or the scalar things to be in existence in a couple of years from now. We're getting to the point now where the money system is failing so rapidly that we're losing the ability to support stuff. So in terms of, we just don't have the money to pay for it. There's not enough purchasing power left in there. And a lot of that purchasing power, as it goes, lots and lots and lots of this speculation stuff is going to go. We're like maybe March 13, maybe March 16, something like that. Somewhere in there, we get another big hit on the financial system, on the money system, on the banking system. And so we have another large drop in the relative value of the dollar, boosting all the cryptos and really putting pressure on gold and silver. And it's going to put pressure on everything else because the dollar is going to die. People won't be able to buy stuff. We're going to have demand destruction at a huge level. And part of that demand destruction will go to these devices that are not proven, and their only effect is through placebo effect. So that's just kind of where we're at. I expect a lot of this shit to fall away, right? So a lot of the cults will just disappear. People won't be able to afford to give their money to, these LightWave guys. And also, by the way, so there's that movie out there, Phil Godlewski. I don't know the real name of it. Well, Phil Godlewski reps LightWaves. Okay, so he's part of that multi-level marketing thing there. He's making money off LightWave badges. So not a good reputation booster insofar as I'm concerned, because Phil Godlewski is a flat Earth proponent, numbnuts, right? I mean, he's not a very deep thinker. In any event, so the fact that he's pushing it tells me, not a good situation. Also, we have that with the with some of the other people that are promoting all of this, including the scalar wave shit, right? And people are gonna bitch and moan at me, and it works, I swear, I've got one of those screens here, and I feel great, and it's growing hair on my back, that kind of thing, right? And it's like, okay, guy, I'm not disputing you, I'm just saying that that shit is not generally going to be acceptable for most people and isn't going to really provide the claimed value. I grew up in the gold mining areas. I'd go and spend time with my grandmother in California, and she lived up in the gold area, Calaveras County, all of those kind of places. And there's a saying up there, claims are easy, finding gold is hard. And that's the way it is here, right? It's easy for these people to make claims about their devices, and it's sort of a little bit able to be hoaxed up, like the LightWave guys paying for the study that proves that their shit works, right? But if it were really work and was really gold, they'd be flying off the shelves because they were so effective, right? So it's just not happening. Anything that's got this multi-level marketing 90% or 99% overage on the cost of production is fundamentally going to be a scam for you. So that's just where we're at with this. A lot of these things will be exposed as we go forward in just very few weeks because of the nature of the degradation of the money. and how rapidly that's going to go now that we're getting into the crack up boom part. So anyway, so you know, don't believe me, go and look at the fucking studies yourself and read in there and see if they're doing things to design to succeed, that is to prove the thing works, or to actually test it. Does it work or not? Don't take this shit at face value. That's one of the lessons that you're going to have to learn as we go into hyper novelty more deeply, because we're there now. It's happening all around us, and it's going to get even more energetic in a short period of time here. So take care, guys. You know, if you got money in stocks, be advised that the crack up boom will drive the stock market extremely high, and then it'll all crash out and people won't be able to sell. They won't be able to get out, and that's going to be just, you know, they will scream. They'll scream and they'll scream and they'll scream, and you'll hear that part as the purchasing power of the dollar takes that next big hit down, which I expect, like I say, that we'll get into that sometime really, really sharply in April. Okay. All right. Back, got to do stuff, and I'll do another one of these as time permits.